What is up? What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Check it out without a doubt, man. Hey, Uncle Mike got some stuff for y'all, man. Major twist in Lil Durk's for hire case. Come on, Lil Durk. You rocking it. God dang. You on Law and Order now. Shout out to Ronnie Bo. Ronnie Bo was writing a letter and everything to the president, trying to get MGM, Young Boy and Lil Durk some type of partners, man. And I think that and I'm gonna be working with Ronnie Bo to make this happen, man. So we need everybody to just subscribe to the channel and watch things, man. Get involved in helping make a difference. Our government is some bull. Our court system is some bull. We have to start standing up for ourselves, man. So anyway, that's why Uncle Mike is sitting here doing these videos. The music industry is some bull. Y'all know that. Be going independent. It's the way to go. With a YouTube channel, which is free. A little bit of education, which I can teach you. Ronnie Bo can help teach you. You can take your music to the next level, man. Come check out the Music Recording Network Live. Go to the World's Lots of Rap Contest.com. Register, sign up, get with a brother. It's funny because it seems like y'all don't even want to do this. But anyway, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this out. Watch this, y'all. Watch this.
To kill another rapper in a Grammy Award-winning rapper accused of orchestrating a murder for hire plot to kill another rapper in retaliation for his longtime friend's murder gets another setback in his case.
Listen to the dude. Just because I'm a sound technician, listen to the sound quality of the vocals. Listen to the sound quality of the music. We're talking about the music industry. Y'all need to be knowing this stuff, man. Watch this. Here we go.
Award-winning rapper accused of orchestrating a murder for hire plot to kill another rapper in retaliation for his longtime friend's murder gets another setback in his case. Durk Banks, better known by his stage name Lil Durk, has been behind bars since October, accused of being the mastermind behind a plot to kill Georgia rapper Quando Rondo, whose real name is Taekwon Bowman. Quando Rondo, along with his sister and cousin, were ambushed and shot at in Los Angeles, California in August of 2022. While Quando Rondo and his sister survived the attack, his cousin was murdered in the hail of gunfire. But that case goes back further than that, as prosecutors say it all stemmed from a 2020 shooting that left another rapper, who was also the close friend and frequent collaborator of Lil Durk, dead. According to Lil Durk's federal indictment, prosecutors say on November 6 of 2020, a man named DB, who was a high-ranking member of Lil Durk's Only the Family, or OTF, and the friend of Lil Durk, got into a fight with another person identified in the indictment as TB. The indictment says an associate of TB pulled out a gun and shot DB multiple times, killing him. Now, the indictment doesn't have the full names of TB or DB, but the circumstances match the November 6, 2020 shooting death of rapper King Von, whose real name is Davon Bennett. And of course, we know Quando Rondo's real name to be Taekwon Bowman. So where does Lil Durk come into play here? Well, federal prosecutors say after King Von's murder, Lil Durk wanted revenge. According to the indictment, Banks made clear in coded language that he would pay a bounty to anyone who took part in killing Quando Rondo for his role in King Von's murder. That all came to a head nearly 2 years later on August 18th of 2022, when Banks, his alleged co-conspirators, and co-defendants tracked down Quando Rondo to Los Angeles.
Hey guys, thank you for watching our videos. If you want to check out our live channel, the Music Recording Network Live, where we dive deeper into videos that we put up and talk about different things that's going on in the world. You can participate in our chat, or you can come on live. You don't even have to show your face. Go to our live channel, subscribe, voice your opinion, because we would like to hear from you and help us come up with solutions. Now, let's continue on with this video.
The indictment names Banks' co-defendants as Kevon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Bryan Lindsay, and Asa Houston. Prosecutors say on August 18th of 2022, after the men learned where Quando Rondo was in LA, at the direction of Lil Durk, Wilson, Jones, Lindsay, Houston, and another co-conspirator traveled from Chicago to Los Angeles to murder Quando Rondo. Meanwhile, Lil Durk and Kevon Grant traveled on a private jet from Miami to LA allegedly to help coordinate the murder. That same day, Banks allegedly texted co-conspirator 3, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." But the feds say that same co-conspirator purchased the plane tickets using an OTF credit card. The unnamed co-conspirator 3 also allegedly confirmed to DeAndre Wilson through text that Wilson, Jones, and Lindsay had the same airline ticket confirmation. And Wilson messaged a friend on Instagram saying, "On my way to LA." From there, Kevon Grant allegedly purchased 4 black ski masks from a sporting goods store, but used cash to pay. But seemingly messed up when he allegedly used another OTF credit card to rent a hotel for the co-conspirator. Prosecutors say after Grant met with the co-conspirators, he gave Keith Jones, David Lindsay, and another unnamed co-conspirator firearms, including a firearm that was modified to operate as a machine gun. From there, Grant allegedly provided 2 cars for himself, Lindsay, Wilson, Jones, Houston, and another co-conspirator to find and kill Quando Rondo. The following day, using a BMW and Infiniti allegedly rented by Grant, the men tracked down Quando Rondo first to a marijuana dispensary, then to a clothing store. But it would be an LA gas station that would be the site of the deadly crime. According to the indictment, Asa Houston drove the Infiniti to an alley behind the Beverly gas station, then parked the car so Jones, Lindsay, and unnamed co-conspirator 2 could attempt to murder Quando Rondo. Prosecutors say the men shot at Quando Rondo's car, but ended up killing his cousin who was standing next to Quando's car. Then the men fled and went to a local burger joint to discuss payment. The same day Quando's cousin was killed, prosecutors say an OTF credit card was used to purchase plane tickets from San Diego back to Chicago for Wilson, Jones, Lindsay, Houston, and co-conspirator 2. Fast forward to October of 2024, prosecutors say Lil Durk allegedly tried to flee the United States and booked plane tickets to several different countries, including Italy, Switzerland, and Dubai, but didn't board the plane for any of the flights. Instead, he was arrested near Miami International Airport. And even though Lil Durk isn't accused of pulling the trigger, he faces the same charges as the other men, including 1 count of conspiracy, 1 count of use of interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, and 1 count of using, carrying, and discharging firearms and a machine gun and possession of such firearms in furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in death, all of which he pleaded not guilty to. Surprisingly, his trial was slated for January 7th, just 3 months after his arrest, but that date was pushed back to October 14th of this year. It all comes weeks after an unsealed affidavit filed by an FBI agent alleged Lil Durk was involved in another murder for hire plot. That affidavit reportedly cites texts and social media posts from 2 people discussing the payment from Lil Durk for the 2022 murder of 24-year-old Stephon Mack, who was alleged to be a Gangster Disciples leader. The agent alleges Lil Durk was offering money for people to kill those responsible for his brother's murder. Lil Durk hasn't been criminally charged for that alleged murder for hire plot. However, prosecutors did use that affidavit as evidence to get Lil Durk's request for bail denied, and he, as well as his co-defendants, remain behind bars since their respective arrests. But all of them are facing a hefty sentence, the rest of their life in prison, if convicted. So much to unpack, so let's bring on now criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Safa Robinson Ferrer. Safa, it's always great to see you. First I have to ask your reaction to this whole case. Lil Durk is a Grammy Award-winning artist, but federal prosecutors allege that he's this mastermind behind the plot to kill Quando Rondo in retaliation for his friend King Von's death. What are your thoughts about this case overall?
It's not surprising to see an indictment come about as a result of that. I think that there have been rumors and talks in the industry for years with regard to Lil Durk and his position with respect to his friend King Von's death and anything that may have been retaliatory in nature. So this is not the first time that I'm hearing of these alleged acts as an attorney, but this is certainly the first time that we now have an indictment alleging these specific acts against him. And what we've seen, in more recent times is that law enforcement is going after individuals who are high-profile individuals or celebrities and rappers in essentially prosecuting them. We saw that in the Young Thug case. We see that in this case now. We see that in the Sean Diddy Combs case. So we're seeing this a lot more frequently as of lately.
Yeah, and reading through this federal indictment against Little Durk, it seems like there's a lot of evidence stacked against him, from the text messages to the use of credit cards and other kind of trails of evidence. What do you make
Yeah.
of that, given if you are going to orchestrate something terrible like this, that you might try a little harder to kind of cover your tracks?
They say cash is king. You know, when you use electronics and you use credit cards and things of that nature, you're leaving a paper trail all the time. You know, even when you use social media, you may think that a video has disappeared because you've used Snapchat. It has not disappeared. It has been preserved and made available for law enforcement. And so essentially here in this case, there are allegations that credit cards were used that were associated with Lil Durk. Also transportation via airplanes, rental cars, and things like that, that the government was ultimately allowed the government to tie.
See, the younger generation don't understand this because there's a website, there's a thing called the Wayback Machine. And I did websites like 8 years ago, man. And that sucker came up and I can see all the changes I made. And the website been gone, it's been deleted, and I don't have access to the website anymore. This data, man, but y'all so smart, y'all should know that. Texting each other, using credit cards to purchase stuff.
These things to him. And so in cases like this, of course, I would never recommend doing anything like this, but always remember that you are leaving a paper trail anytime you use an electronic, a cell phone, a computer, a credit card, or anything like that.
Hey, for all you business owners or anyone who wants to start a side hustle, I want to take a quick second and tell you about something that can accounting like social media.
It wouldn't
a snitch with an the link odoo.com/LCnews34 and try Odoo now for free. Yeah, and there have also been a lot of rumors on social media kind of regarding a snitch with an OTF. Do you think that federal prosecutors used a CI or used a cooperating witness to kind of spell out what happened and when?
Oh.
It wouldn't surprise me. I read through some of the superseding and indictment, and it seems to be very highly detailed with the alleged conduct and the overt acts that they are alleging against Lil Durk. And the specificity that it took to make those pleadings, there is a question in my mind as if anybody has cooperated against Mr. Durk or Lil Durk at this point in time. And it certainly wouldn't be surprising to me. And we see that in co-defendant cases a lot, is what the government will try to do is get one of the co-defendants to flip on the others or to flip on the primary target, which in this case is Lil Durk.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, this isn't just a murder for hire plot. Quando Rondo's cousin was actually killed in this ambush in 2022. Do you think that's why federal prosecutors are after Lil Durk too, and not just kind of the men who are allegedly accused of kind of being the trigger pullers in this case? Do you think, you know, had Quando Rondo's cousin survived the attack or not been shot and killed, that they would be after Lil Durk too?
You know, I think that they would have been after him regardless. Like I said, there have always been rumors in the industry with regard to his possible acts and things of that nature. And so, it doesn't come as a surprise here. One of the things the government charged here is conspiracy. And they're alleging that OTF, or only the family, is essentially this umbrella of an organization that engages in criminal activity or a pattern of criminal behavior, including the murder for hire. They're alleging that Lil Durk is the primary principal who is essentially instructing other individuals to commit these acts. And so certainly they would be going after him, not only the trigger pullers and anybody else who may be lower level.
And, you know, Lil Durk has been behind bars now since October. His trial was supposed to kind of start relatively soon, but now it's pushed back to October of this year. I want to ask you, what do you think the federal trial against Lil Durk could look like, given what appears to be this overwhelming kind of evidence against him?
God,
I expect his trial to more than likely be months long. You know, it could take anywhere from a month to a few months. I think it was a good move on the defense end to adjourn the trial out so that they can get through all of the discovery. They can continue through their investigations and things of that nature. And they really want to bulletproof their defense. And adjourning the trial till October really gives them an opportunity to do that. Now, of course, Lil Durk doesn't want to sit there. Nobody wants to sit, you know, in prison or incarceration. But I think that was the best move necessary to protect his rights. As far as the trial and what that will look like, I expect that there's going to be a lot of evidence that the government's going to be using. I think that they're going to try to go at this in the way that the prosecution went after Young Thug and his group and do a prosecution that includes all of the defendants and at one trial, or consolidate the defendants into one proceeding because of the amount of evidence and the witnesses that they would use. So I expect that, but I expect Durk's attorneys to really go after the prosecution in this case. And while they're trying to point together and pin together these alleged acts that have spanned, I think, since the initial 2020 shooting incident, the defense is going to attack it each and every step of the way.
Do you think prosecutors will use music and his own lyrics kind of against him in trial?
I am expecting that is going to happen. And I personally, as a defense attorney, have a significant issue with that. We have a First Amendment right here in the United States, and the freedom of speech and the ability to create art through those lyrics has been used, as an attack on that First Amendment right and privilege. Now, it may not be as much of a protected speech as other forms of speech, but that's an issue here. Artists want to be able to create without having to defend themselves for their creations later. But I do expect that the government is going to try to take that angle in this case.
And I have to ask.
Yeah, they will, because that helps plant, especially if it's a jury. If it's a jury, all you need is one or two people to say, well, this is the message he's putting out to the world, so he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. This is the message. His music is... But nah, it's like, I'm not a bad guy if I make a movie about people shooting up the streets and blowing up cars and all this stuff. Yeah, you made a movie like that, so you're a bad guy. But it just helped paint the picture they're going to use it. They're going to use it.
Without having to defend themselves for their creations later. But I do expect that the government is going to try to take that angle.
Of course they're going to take that angle.
And I have to ask, say Lil Durk is your client. What kind of defenses are you going to be using, especially in a federal trial case like this?
In a case like this, if I was Durk's attorney, my client is not as involved as the government would like them to allege. All my client does here is he's a rapper. He runs this organization, but it's an organization that's geared towards music and in the music industry. We do hear, lyrics of violence and things like that in the music industry. And again, that is a creative work that should be protected and is protected by the United States Constitution and copyright law. The government's making a significant stretch trying to tie him into this murder for hire plot. And ultimately what the government's trying to do is hold somebody responsible for this death, but the person responsible is not Lil Durk. Whether they want to go after, the co-defendant who allegedly fired the firearm or killed that individual, that's a conversation for another day. But my client, he's a businessman. He has other matters that he's tending to. He has other matters that he needs to tend to. So them trying to rope him in, just like they've been doing to other, artists in as of recently, is not something that we'd allow to happen. And we would fight that case at each and every stage.
Yeah, and I was kind of to piggyback off that answer there. It seems like for fans of Lil Durk, it does seem like, another great artist is taken up by the system, especially after appearing to get your life together, then, allegedly by your own actions, get into something like this. But what do you make of what feels like the seeming downfall of Lil Durk and not kind of leaving the streets behind?
It's very unfortunate. And sometimes, as you grow into new positions, he's a celebrity, he has notoriety, he has a family. We have to change people, places, and things around us. We can't do the same thing and expect a different result. So while, he has exceeded and excelled in his professional career, it's always important to be mindful of the people that you keep around. And sometimes, unfortunately, people don't leave the streets behind. And them doing so is a part of a safety and a coping mechanism for the things that they've previously experienced in their lives. But, you have to protect yourself and your family first. So, it's very unfortunate that he's in this situation. Hopefully he's able to overcome this, with the help of his attorneys.
Yeah, and I guess we'll kind of have to wait and see how this all continues to unfold and play out. Safa, I want to thank you so much for your time today. But before we sign you off, though, where do you think that everything kind of goes from here in terms of the trial process? And do you think that an October date will be the October date for the trial?
I think the October date will be the date for the trial unless there's a reason to adjourn it and maybe some attorney scheduling. But from here on out, we're in trial preparation mode. We're interviewing witnesses. We're getting through that discovery. We're exploiting the evidence and essentially saying, and one of the things the prosecution always likes to do is they like to say, you know, this person did this for this reason, when there's a whole separate explanation as to why something may or may not have been done. But you only get that one prosecution vision or side of the story until, as the defense, we're able to tell our own story. And so I'm sure that his attorneys are preparing to tell that story for him.
All right. Safa, again, thank you so much for your insight into this case. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Durk Banks, aka Lil Durk, remains behind bars, and at this time, his next court hearing is slated for August 11th, and he's expected to go on trial on October 14th. Reporting for Law and Crime, I'm Elizabeth Milner.
I beg you guys, all y'all street wannabe actors, you acting like you a thug in the street, I beg you all, take down a little bit of the acting and do some studying. All you got to do is Google before you commit a crime, Google what the punishment is of that crime. Everybody knows when you're in jail, you don't talk on the phone because of everything being recorded. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows you're leaving a paper trail. Come on, man. You got to think and watch. You have to watch what it is you're doing. You let your emotions get the best of you. So all thinking goes out the window. You just in broad daylight, we're gonna light this sucker up. And then you in jail and you're sitting there like, damn, I wish I ain't do that day. I wish I would have been over some girl house or anything like that. Y'all let me know in the comments, man. Don't forget the worldslosrapcontest.com. Go to the website. Register. It's free to register. You can contact me any kind of way. If you got music, you make beats, and you're trying to get in this music industry, holler at your boy. Uncle Mike gonna help you. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.